Hello, my learned friends. We are continuing with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Resolve, which is the second game. And we are on episode 1, The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. And I don't know why it says part 1 of the trial, because I swear we're on part 2. But this will be the end of that trial. We're going to get it all done. I don't know how long it's going to take, but here we are. Last time, my best friend got accused of murdering someone, because what else is new? But I think the victim isn't actually dead. If you know what I'm referencing, you're amazing. Okay. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. Oh, Susato's also pretending to be a dude because, you know, not only are we racist, we're also sexist in these parts, so, you know, fun. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence. That you'd stay by me to the last. Stand by me. I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I had important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor with a Susato takedown. No. That's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be by your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no.
I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
And we're best friends, too. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray? Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
She would have known if we hadn't told her.
Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray.
Oh yeah, she also has a crush on me. Good luck in this empire. Love's hard to find these days.
I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got up to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she possibly could have been stabbed like that.
A great mystery indeed.
I still can't believe it happened. That's why I couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've said you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikitoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now.
Unless it wasn't in the blade.
The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it.
Oh, I see. Yes. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver the police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case.
I know what I need to do. I need to put it on the pen. It was on the pen. What's the matter, Susato?
It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from a medical research laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing.
What?
It was when the professor and Sasuke-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swatted without any compunction, said to the Professor Migatoba. Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work and that substance there.
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Sasuke-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction.
So then, Sasuke-san knew about the poison.
Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
This...
Oh, that's a what?
By the way, did the reporter join you at all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal has been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Sasuke-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office.
Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police. Ah!
Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, we've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed to the courtroom at once. I don't know what that noise was that I just made, but it's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney, Ryotaro Naro.
Yes! Bray has put her faith in me now and told me everything. So I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day.
Here we go. Oh boy. Reporters. Hate them. Who would ever want to be a newspaper reporter? What a crazy job that would be. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Bami. Prosecutor Archie, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it?
Well, they couldn't detect the poison.
During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Migatoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Jezel's life. Jezel, yeah.
Excellent, I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
Had the regent delivered to the police headquarters by the rickshaw, so it would be their good time.
But judging the man's swagger, I fear we may need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And counsel, what were the results?
This dagger, which so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
What? Are you sure about that?
She drank it from the thing! Her pen!
I would stake the reputation of the police on it.
On to the regent. The test is extremely simple. They could have made a mistake. Yes, the weapon didn't have it, but the pen did.
In short, the accused people excused earlier has been utterly destroyed.
It's in the pen, stupid. Oh my goodness. Calm down.
Now, the prosecution is ready to call the next witness.
Hold on. Can I spray that stuff? On the...
The label appears to be written in a foreign language. It's German, okay? Could you just written medicine in Japanese? German is the international language of medicine. Yeah, certainly see the merit in labeling bottle. Not sure medicine would be appropriate. Okay. Wait, should I spin it? Hold on. I want to put... Okay. I want to examine the pen. Okay. And then I want to spray it. Let me spray it with that thing. I want to spray it with the thing. I want to spray it with the thing. Okay, so I can't spray the pen. But if I end up being able to spray the pen later, I'm going to lose my mind. The newspaper reporter managed to capture a photograph. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness. No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Through the pen! I know you, Ace Attorney. If I haven't used a piece of evidence yet, it's going to be used later, and it entered through the pen.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
Raiden Metamonvo, the Show You News. I'm what people call a journo. What? What's a journo, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there where the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in print the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph. Well, what do we hear? I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people! Metamamo sends a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play defended by curiously handsome young lawyer at Supreme Court. Curiously handsome. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it up full 72-point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition. Huh? Right then. Let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryotaro Naoto. I can't say his last name. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryotaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed Katsuma-sama's dream for a while.
By the way, my name is Takasuchi Achi. That's
Ouchie, that makes more sense.
the so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart.
No, the readers won't buy that.
What?
Witness.
Yes?
What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday.
Yeah. I wouldn't be a journal if it ain't quick when I'm presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, and a fast hand to write with. Fast legs to run with, and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my metamemosism? Memoism? Oh, memo. Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself in Sosuke-san. Yes, that's right. That was me. Metamemo-san. Again. But you were supposed to be going back to Show You News offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words? A criminal, left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns.
Is that motive I see?
Stay your tongue, young man. These are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here, right? Here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going to some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press.
Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph.
Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journal eyes.
From start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Nanowrimo-san. It's so hard to say. You will now give a formal testimony. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed in the event surrounding Miss Bert's death. Alright.
The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor. She stabbed her in the back.
Well, that's not right. Oh wait, it is right. She was face down, wasn't she?
My smoldering journal spirits burst into flame. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot.
She was shot in the back. She was facing the other way, wasn't she? Reed screens, you say?
Right. You can see them clearly enough through this great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds.
Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat.
And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing holding up.
Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut?
Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens?
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it? Or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. A tenacity of purpose is considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day is run a scoop the next. That's a memo-ism in a nutshell.
Cross-examine the witness. Alright.
No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency, wonderful.
Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question.
What question?
Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why, then, was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
Seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be determined.
Huh! More pathetic excuses.
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency.
There's more to this reporter than meets the eye.
Well, duh.
Is he keeping something about this case very close to his chest?
Just sprayed everywhere. Okay. The camera never lies. Alright. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens. Yep, that's fine. Things when I was sitting in a stool. Let me save quick. Sitting on a stool. I want to see said stool in the photograph. So give me a moment. I'm sure it's in there and I just wasn't paying attention. But I want to see it. Oh, there's the stool. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to. Oh, wait, okay.
Hold it!
Hold it! So you actually saw Membami-san enter the hut?
Yep, and she was raging like my journal spirit.
And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly?
You stole it. You did. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing.
That talking about the poison, I suppose.
The student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs.
The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism.
But the student's rantings fell in deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time.
Or an English person listening to Japanese. He really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest.
Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry.
And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me.
Which was the climactic moment they caught on film.
Okay.
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole scene play out from start to finish.
I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Oh, finally. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed.
Right you are. It's all here in my many memo pad.
I think I'm not supposed to like this character this much, but I'm kind of having a good time.
When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the English woman was on this stool in the back of the hut here.
Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that.
She just sat in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted below. It's my turn to testify now, try not to interrupt. Oh. Then the next moment as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. Okay. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way.
Self-defense?
And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other.
What you described as a grim scene indeed.
Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what memoism says. By the way, Menememo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? Journals have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our reason to...
So you did converse with Miss Brett at all?
Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in.
On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving. If I may. Yes, Professor. I think the witness last... Okay, yep, should be added to the testimony.
Father, what are you...
Alright, something important. I will grant the defense's request. Well, nihilism is the foundation of memoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. Okay. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. Okay, let me press first.
Hold it!
And then I'll save, and then I'll present.
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that?
I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to breaking point already.
Oh, I see. You were scared. Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you. Yes.
It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hand steady enough to snap the shot.
You really should have summoned help before thinking of your camera.
Memoism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in these instances, memoism comes out on top. Huh. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel to my art. Yes, that's spot on.
Surely he's making all this up.
He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. It's true, his testimony is devastating.
But
It does seem to be as though he's holding something back, doesn't it? If that's how you feel, I suggest you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said. As you've no doubt seen done many times before, he's your blah 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 blah.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place? Call it journal instinct. Can you think of a better reason? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside is a young woman. Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journal as a voyeur. It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Nope, you got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry. To my mind, that was all inside that hut. All that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops get no gender. Man or woman, it's all news. That's not even metamemoism. It's basic journalism. Tabloid journalism. Right. So if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Yeah, okay. A sight that many... okay. When I pulled back the reeds, all I could see it as clear as day. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so I'm gonna save here and then see what evidence I have. I'm sure I have something. Okay, I'm glad it says part 2 now. I was a little bit scared. I was like, why is it saying part 1? Like, we were in part 2. Okay, what evidence? Well, wouldn't you have to go inside the hut to take that picture?
Objection!
Okay. So, if you didn't step foot inside, how in the world did you get that picture? Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Nor spoke with her. Well, we know you did.
Objection!
Oh, it can't be that one. Oh, never mind. It's gonna be the... Not that one. It's gonna be the newspaper article. Okay, hold on. There's just too much evidence to prove you wrong. I don't know which evidence we want here. Okay. Present the paper?
Objection!
Not that one? Bro, which one is it? Hold on a second. I know for a fact you've spoken to her. I don't know which evidence it is. Hold on. You spoke to her. You literally... Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I should probably pay more attention to what I'm doing. Okay, it's not that one. Not that one. RM? That's his pen!
Objection!
Okay. Nanowrimo-san, until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there! The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News on my arm. Okay. In a way, that's more metamemoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those reclamatory words, Counsel?
Nanowrimo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? Ha! This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes, thank you for bringing out that, Counsel. The initials are the accused, Ray Membani.
Is it a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also R.M.?
No!
Rayton Menamemo, R.M.
That's horse dung! Can't you see? One of the central tenets of the metamemoism is being a pencil user.
And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain.
It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung!
Menamemo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Objection! Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly! Show you news will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with their initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
In that case, the defense will show the court where this alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency. Got it! As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize, Menamemo-san.
Goodness me! It's the emblem of the Shoyu News.
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they?
She is such a... I love her.
Well, Menamemo-san, how do you respond?
No! My heart, I can't take it.
Order! Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics that have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets.
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
Alright then. Fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before this grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu News reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before.
When exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It's just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we memoists say, the people don't pay their duties for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it, yes, alright, but on one condition.
Condition?
In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Suzuki Natsume-san.
Sosuke-san?
Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one, it's big.
What?
What? Metamemoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
Sokushi-san, Suspicious.
It's gonna be the thing where he, like, says something that triggers him. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from the outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when the writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about this in his testimony, which is why I made a memo and demands I reveal it now. Okay, what was the question? You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness? And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
That's, true, yes. He did. And that's not all. The woman gave a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. Oh no.
This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel yet hack?
It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination. The court must show the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? Suspicious.
Na 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 na. Dun, 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 dun.
Hold it. What question? What exactly did he say?
Well now, you should hear it from that horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Writer Man? Ah!
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman?
Well, in truth, I've been catching crabs in the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see? Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then, all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up to the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over a collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hasanaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to go get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
But what did you ask her, Soseki-san?
I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing. But, she pointed. When in the sand, you will answer the questions. Now, I demand you amend your testimony. I will. She pointed.
Hold it!
So you tried to find out who the culprit was.
He who asks the question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever.
However, you've indicted that the victim failed to respond, is that correct?
I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my snooping mustache because I'm Japanese.
Oh dear. Sokasi-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Can we blame him?
Having read the report on this time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. Yeah. But the Englishwoman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Writer Man? Huh? Well, yes, alright. She did respond in a manner of speaking.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Sokasi-san, is that really true?
it's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us when the student girl was standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of its strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl. But, you know who else was back there? The reporter. No. Sosuke-san, what on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But, fiddlesticks, I say! This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishwoman did point a finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction. So somewhere in the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. At the cameraman, okay. You mean your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. And I'm very, very unclear.
Objection! Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all unreasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may have barely been conscious, but yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why?
She pointed at the cameraman. Okay, hold on. If we look at this photograph and we examine it. Okay, maybe not this one. Sorry, hold on, that was before. It would be... Pointing. Okay, anyway, back to work. Definitely pointing at the cameraman, though. I don't know how to prove it, but... I'm inclined to agree, and in the instance of an incredible argument to the contrary, I believe we haven't concluded this trial. No, you can't!
The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers, hopes dashed. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition.
This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over. But that's impossible, Father! No, it's not! We don't even know how the crime was committed! Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned. Somewhere in those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need. I know the truth. Ray gave her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. Was she drinking tea in the hut? Maybe he poisoned her via that. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Pratt was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Oh my gosh, the cameraman stabbed her from behind! Before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It literally makes so much sense. And the cameraman hates her. It makes sense. How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but herself and Ray? Somewhere amid all this information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question. I take it then, the defense has nothing further to add?
So, the Gallignol student's luck finally runs out. Can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I'm ready to deliver my verdict. This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish how it happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim? I do know how, but I'm gonna save just in case I haven't exactly gone through my evidence enough, but I'm pretty sure I did. Because, like, Gadur, you reach through, you stab, it's not that hard. Goodness. Okay, anyway.
Objection!
Objection! I really like her. Can we play as her? Like, I love Ryunosuke, I do, but she's kind of fun. Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. I can say English. Oh, to what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory.
An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection! An alternative theory? Huh, none exists.
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
What?
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction.
This is fiction! Fantasy!
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, Counsel, I'm prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryota Naruto,
Yes, Your Excellency.
you present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the victim was concealed? Okay, 1 second. Let me save. Outside the hut, but... Okay. So the victim's here. They said they're pointing this way? So... behind the hut?
Take that!
Naruto-san would never give up. And I'm Naruto now. That's so cool! The true culprit who was fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here.
Are you mad, Counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut.
What?
She's so cool! I'm fangirling. Order!
But the student lawyer Naruto-san Esquire, that makes no sense at all!
You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about. I can swear to that.
Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut.
Actually, Prosecutor Aochi, there is a way. And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that this is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing! You're bluffing!
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, Counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed outside the hut? The photograph. But let me save again. It was the photograph, because obviously you can clearly get inside. Stupid. The walls aren't even clear. Gosh, he's so stupid.
Take that!
Nope. Well, I presented it now. But I haven't the first idea why I chose this piece. Okay, fine. Be that way. Gosh. You see the point. I know the point. Goodness. Y'all making life complicated. Okay. Can I like actually examine it now? No, okay. So not this one. I'm just thinking the reeds, yeah?
Take that!
The music didn't stop. The original photograph picked at the crime scene.
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Objection! Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of such thing.
I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to.
Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be explicit. Where on this photograph is there a trace of stabbing which you claim took place from outside the hut? The fallen glass, right? Okay, hold on. Okay, I can't click on anything. Okay, hold on. Let me save again. I'm gonna say the wine glass first, but let me check the walls just in case. Okay, go back. We're looking in the back. Excuse my eyes being way too close to the screen. There is an opening right there. Is that where we're saying it was? Is that where the camera was though? Okay. What if I start here? And then I'll do the wine glass.
Take that!
Look closely just here.
I can't believe I caught that.
In the screen in the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds.
No, I can't. I can't see such a thing.
It's true that the hut in question has 4 walls as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them.
This is extraordinary.
Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Huh. And everyone present at the scene? There's only one person who could have done that. Of everyone, only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Reitan Nanowrimo-san. It could only have been you.
Huh?
No!
You showed you hate her.
This preposterity leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach, does she not? Are we to assume, in part of this farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not.
We're not?
If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on the stool in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable.
A stool?
Have another look at this photograph. The slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of the person who was sitting on that stool.
So, in fact, the victim was...
Killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen.
Huh!
Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Membami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Nanowrimo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge.
This is absurd.
I still like the journalist. I don't know, he's fun. That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, nah, it ain't that easy.
I finally made him cave.
I must say, I've never been more proud.
No, this can't be. The algae gland can't. What of my growth of hope? It wasn't all an aberration. I can't accept this. I won't.
I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. Yeah, no way. Nah. I will therefore...
This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals.
But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut, through the reed screen walls.
And no one but you has been placed at the time to have his hand in the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction.
So your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant?
Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. The poison.
What? What are you talking about?
Brace yourselves, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up.
What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness.
What's to explain?
I'm talking about the poison, of course.
The poison? Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? Yeah, we know she was poisoned. You poisoned her. I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right?
That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. Did she poison herself? And then he also just happened to stab her? You know how crazy that would be?
I see. So presumably that means that the victim already had poison in her body before she was stabbed.
Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have been circulated in her blood.
How refreshing to hear an argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom and whose back and whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken up by a knife, but by the poison. But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Yeah, it's not, though.
Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During this very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. So let me get this down. The facts is skillfully established by the defendants in this trial. That is a typo. Turns out the headline making red herring.
I did not read that correctly.
Is that about right? Well... Oh! You poisoned her with the pen. You stabbed her with the pen. In the back.
I don't know how. Or she poisoned herself. Where does this leave us? How, in this case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniable obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it.
You mean she drank it?
Have another look at the photograph. Yep. A bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked into the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either.
So somebody made Miss Breast drink it. Well, what do you think? Look at those dashing eyes. That will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
Established? What are you talking about? Huh? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is a prime press fodder, this is.
It would seem this trial is not destined to end at all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony.
That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency.
It is magnificent. The claim is to be impossible. Okay, just do your thing.
I'm a journal and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life.
I should get a pencil. I don't have a pencil.
And I'm not about to start now because that's metamemoism. For a brief moment, I thought it illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
This has to be the last one, I swear. Complete innocence.
Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman. It's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I bother to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and the pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done.
I think Brett poisoned herself. I think she was trying to commit. I think she poisoned herself because she didn't want to go through this. Or she thought, or the poison was actually like a temporary death type of thing.
So you admitted then that everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen?
Oh, I read its wrong voice.
You can blame this miserable country of ours. The country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back, I plunged the blade of sweet justice sitting right there.
I think she drank poison.
Someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told. I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart.
You're implicating Ray again.
She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap! This journal here is off the hook.
That doesn't make any sense. Because she came in looking for the poison.
That's not a sound argument.
I don't think he poisoned her. I think the victim drank it and maybe thought it wasn't supposed to actually kill her, or temporary death to try to escape. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm not even reading that. No.
And therefore, the part had nothing to do with the poisoning.
It's not logical, bro.
Logical and true. I'm glad you'll see the light. Justice at last.
Where is the justice?
This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Katsuma-sama and Naruto-san. They never stopped looking for a fort.
Katsuma did. He gave up. He gave up during my trial, hence my theory that... Anyway, I don't want to have hope that he could be alive, because that hurts me. I want him to be alive so bad, but then if he is, that means that he faked his death because he was a coward, and that's terrifying. But anyway.
They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel.
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination.
All right. Yes, Your Excellency.
She's a fun lawyer. I hope we get to do this again sometime. Probably won't, but I think this is fun. Anyway. Okay. Okay, I think I'm just gonna stab the English with this, proves I'm innocent. Why would I bother? Okay.
Hold it!
So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim?
Obviously. That'd be like putting a belt in your trousers when you're already wearing braces like these.
Hughes administered the poison, following which the victim stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, Yoko. Who knows? You may even learn something here today.
2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how that law works. The law of reckoning. That's not the kind of law this court upholds. You reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim, then witness. But they were arguing because she was looking for... Okay. What exactly were they arguing about? Yeah. Gadur. About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor. That's not what you testified earlier. I'm not reading that. Bro, you didn't... That's not... Objection!
Her case was heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai, however. There is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman.
It was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. Why didn't we do that? I can't. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. Ray.
Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it.
No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But
But this awful man is making all this up. Susato, please, you have to make them listen.
Return to the dock at once, Minbami-san. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it!
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly! He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, dirty, great peeping Tom! Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say.
Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. He changed his testimony.
I will grant the thank you.
But, Your Excellency.
Alright, as such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. Well, recognize the okay. Yep.
Oh, thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Gooder.
It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
Hold it!
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? Yeah, which he said earlier. I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the governor. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if the thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult.
That's true. I pestered Professor Mikitoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail.
I'm losing track of my voices.
Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we'd been developing, you see.
And since Osuki-san expressed such interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance.
I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singular, terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look for my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if I were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be by the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster.
And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns?
She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Ah, yes. Nanowrimo-san, one small question if you don't mind.
I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy?
Clearly, you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote this article about what you'd heard? Exclusive, deadly poison stolen from Yumai Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in the morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written for anyone else.
Sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Brett. Word for word.
Well, Nanowrimo-san.
As a journal and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of journalism.
Father's clearly right about this.
That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut. So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want to go on record.
Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. It's a little worked up.
The point is, you poison someone, there'd be no reason to then go stab the person as well.
You don't want them to know that you stole it, though.
Objection!
That's what I thought.
Well,
I can think of one reason. What? What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut?
Of course he did. There can be no question of that. Huh. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin.
And there's one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membamni-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
That's what I'm saying. Where are you going with this, counsel?
Nanowrimo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it.
Ah! Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison while the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Membamni-san entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Nanowrimo-san overheard some worrying information.
Worrying information? What worrying information?
The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily attained.
Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Membamni-san being no exception.
Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties.
She thought it would... Yep. I called it! Gosh, I'm getting better at this, guys.
In other words, someone like you, Brayton Nanowrimo. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day, and it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so untraceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learnt of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen.
Objection! But what good could that possibly do?
Isn't it obvious, counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret's poison's use, no one would ever have suspected.
This is extraordinary.
Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back.
Order! The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does Does the prosecution have a counter-argument as it wishes to put forward?
Well, there are a number of... yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope.
Lost hope?
You got nothing. You got nothing.
Ugh, you pathetic, useless fallen samurai! Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My burgundy growth is on the... I don't need a counter-argument.
What are you talking about?
It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories.
Oh, it was in your pen.
I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence?
I have evidence.
Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts.
Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself.
I mean what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what Show You News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word.
Surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin. No, it'd be really hard. It's in a pen, bro. It's in a pen.
How's that then? Blown the story wide open? See, I write in Meta Memo, a new reporter from the Show You News could possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory.
It was in the pen! He must have stolen the poison. He stole it. He used it to kill. And if that's the case, I have the evidence. As you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here.
What's your point, you annoying handsome country bumpkin?
My point is, there is one way that you, Metamemo-san, could have stolen the poison that day. I've heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. What the court must show is evidence.
La 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 la. Take that!
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen.
A fountain pen? How could that possibly be relevant?
These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now.
Huh! I swear by a weasel air calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad.
Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Stick it for Sucum with sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with it later.
What is this talking sucking up ink up?
And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it into the nib again, of course.
Can you this really be?
Well, Metamemo-san? When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. I called that so early.
More absurdity! That never happened!
True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent theft like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted.
Well, this is quite startling, I must say.
I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words,
It was dropped at the scene by Nanowrimo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped?
Are you suggesting...
The natural conclusion is that your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment. You dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass.
Objection! There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using the pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from her quivering hand.
No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink?
What?
As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No! The pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty on reserve.
What is he doing?
Why are you throwing pencils around? You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's a wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. Looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends on whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist.
Nanowrimo-san, this is how our modern justice system works.
What?
In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are all well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then. This will be the final piece of the puzzle.
I have more evidence?
What haven't I used yet? Okay, wait. So we should do that, and then we can use it on the pen. So hold on. Save. Save. I don't need to save because I have more than one try I can use, but I just want to... I think it's this, because you can use this, and I haven't used this yet, and you can use this to test the pen, which I wanted to do earlier, but it wouldn't let me.
Take that!
Counsel, what is that bottle?
This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Yes, that poison is entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison.
A reagent? What?
One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Nanowrimo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt.
No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency. The defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. Hi-ya!
Interesting.
What is he doing?
This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this. Trying to hold its head high as a civilization. Bowing his head, I took up arms in the form of a mighty pen. Fought tirelessly. And all the justice, righteousness,
Susato, with me! I'm there. Hiya! Well, I hope my hat doesn't fall off. Okay. Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown.
That was a good case. Like, it was simple, but it was fun.
The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim.
I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen.
Yes, that's right.
Answer me one thing, Minamamo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article.
I mean, it was a secret project. Too juicy for a journal like me to pass up.
Then, why did the Englishwoman end up dead?
I went into that hut intending to quiz her on this situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it.
And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman perpetrating a practice journalism.
Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What? What did you call me?
This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave where you came from.
That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journal's spirit getting all fired up.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yes?
You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used another means to deliver justice you sought. There's no justice. Sorry? I missed it. After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was.
A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful what you say.
Oh, come on! Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national? Consular jurisdiction should never come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away in the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan.
Does this relate to...
Oh my goodness, wait! Is that what that message was about? Okay. What sort of deal? I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush our free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Minamamo-san, that you committed murder yourself and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all.
suppose. I think that cover-up had something to do with Katsume. The dude, I'm blanking on his name, the Sherlock Holmes' friend, and then the other two names they mentioned. Like, that's all related to the cover-up. Oh my gosh. It appears we have reached a conclusion. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro, Naruto. Oh. Yes. Sorry, Your Excellency. It's almost unbelievable this is your first experience in the streaming court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Naruto-san. Ryunosuke, you mean? The way you handled the trial 9 months ago, the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly. We should start bowing in the States. I think it'd be a good custom. For the future of justice would be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
So, Prosecutor Ayuchi, do you have any final thoughts? Oh no.
Prosecutor Ayuchi. I, Takatsuchi of Ayuchi clan, have been bested by a Kalu not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today.
Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence! Rather than living on shame.
What you doing?
I will end it all now with this blade. What are you doing? For that is the true path of Ayushi's... What?
Ayushi-ism? One hopes that the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. What you doing?
Spring up my top knot. The time is right for farewell. Hope...
Oh, he's cutting off his top knot.
Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi.
No! Don't do it! You have so much to live for! You got me for a second. Oh, you got me. Okay. We pay respect and tribute to the tragic loss we experienced in this courtroom here today. I forgot you were here. Oh, sir. Your services were appreciated. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rei Membami-san. Yeah.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty.
Yay!
I love that it's petals. I need to get some confetti to throw around in here. Court is adjourned. To the lobby! That's always my favorite part, the lobby after the trial. Alright. It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do to stay standing. Lawyers are such a great responsibility. Such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruto-san? Susato! Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Ray and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you... Oh no, I think I'm gonna cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you.
Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Ray. So I would have to say that the congratulations belongs to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... what? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryotaro Noado, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. I'll, think about it, Ray. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. It felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me, Ray.
Oh my goodness! No, of course not. Of course not. There it is at last. Ray's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, defense attorney Ryotaro Naruto.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotopa from now. So, I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame! Do you have a crush on me?
What?
What is happening?
Huh. Sasaki-san and Inspector Hasanaga, I do hope you've been keeping well?
Is that really you?
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me. Susato Mikitova.
I don't... So dashing! So divine!
No!
Did you have a crush on me or something? Double dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san, Esquires, that you were locum student Naruto Ascends, Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly, astounding, ace, attorney.
They did not.
That's me. Astonishingly astounding ace attorney.
Poor Sokisi-san. So confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruto-san's skillful okay, is skillful spelt with one L in Britain? Okay. Because that's the second time I've seen it. At the Old Bailey, Sokitsu-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author.
I'm stunned. That was truly an impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau. Who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I'm not sure you should be admitting that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And that was a once-in-a-lifetime event.
I hope not. That was awesome.
Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector.
Well, I am a professional, of course.
I do worry about Inspector Hasanaga sometimes. I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here in the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey.
Don't show me his corpse again. I can't handle it.
Though, that didn't help you, did it, Katsuma-sama?
I'm literally crying. I miss him so much. So much. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John Wilson, yes. They talked about him in the Morse code, too. The man I invited to Japan personally. And that's why it was in Japanese. Oh my goodness, because they were talking between governments. Duh! I'm so stupid. That's like the most obvious thing ever. The mystery is, why did she kill him? She was an assassin. And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer.
On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course.
Ah, my arch nemesis! How lightly you utter his name!
Well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes. A best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson.
What? Dr. Wilson?
I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, then the poor girl will never see her beloved father again. Unless he's not really dead.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. That was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yumei University. But I also serve another role, as an advisor to the government in diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters. I need to know if Katsume actually died tripping over a bedpost being pushed by a ballerina. You guys, why was the government talking about him? What do they know? Where is my beloved? They keep showing a stupid corpse.
Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? Was he not... Wait. Was he not sick? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by the day.
What? Where did that news come from?
That's what I'd like to know. Because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
I'm scared. Sorry, I'm literally crying. Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susato? I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't. Let me go! The takedown! Oh, no. Please tell me.
Menimemo-san. So, one throw wasn't enough for you? I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor.
Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. I can't handle this. What? On that visiting student's fate. Oh my gosh. Visiting student. Gisela Brent. The student of law. Katsume! What's going on? I'm gonna start crying. What's happening? What did you do to my Katsume? On that student, the student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Student of the law?
He must mean... Katsuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Katsuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship. And that'll never... Ah!
Whoa. Well, I didn't expect to find him here. Bro. If my dad killed my best friend, he's going down with every takedown in my book. I still am going with my previous theory. What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. Yo! You better start spilling. I was coming to tell you the rickshaw has arrived, Eugen. It's a good job I came by.
Yes, thank you for dealing with him. I'll be there shortly. Oh, Your Excellency.
Ah! The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend. Sushiro Jigoku. And I may say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Oh, they knew! They knew! Susato.
Did you know all along? From the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk if Sushiro here hadn't known and then he'd recognized you. So I had a word in your ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Sushiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address. Before you go, Father! Sorry, my dear. We shall return to it. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my, Sushiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I let sent a man flying like that.
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle Brett? About Dr. Wilson? And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Katsuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime. When nobody else is around. Is he in England? Is he alive? Guys! Judicial Assistant Mikotobo-san, Squares. Can I have a word? Oh, yes, of course. Sosaki-san, what is it? I think perhaps it could be a fate that we're meeting again like this. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. This I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me at once. I will!
Oh my gosh, guys, I can't. As you know. Sorry, I just had to finish crying. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruto-san, Esquire, stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Guys, I need to know. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. Okay, it was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken by a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you asking you to return to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part?
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in?
Of course, I could never forget.
Your father seemed concerned mainly with the second case.
The second one? You mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public? Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions.
That's horrific. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. That case someone caused my father to summon me urgently to Japan. I thought that whole business was over. But it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
Huh? Yo! is my best friend dead or not?
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better.
She's so
How
sweet.
you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo. Okay, I was close. I was a little butchered it a little bit, but not too bad. Not as much as I thought.
But actually,
Whose grave is
I'm
that?
writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again.
I love her.
Susato.
Susato? Okay, I have been butchering her pronunciation as well. Good to know. Guys, if Kasuo was like alive or something, is my theory right? Y'all gotta like tell me. I don't even remember what I said in the short. It was like that I think he might be alive because he might be alive because, like, I don't know, was he scared? Was he scared or something? Or does he know government secret? What? I can't. I don't understand. I just don't understand if he is alive. I don't even know how to feel about this. I would have killed for him to be alive, but now if he lied to me and he was like a bad person, what?